Thank you. The time is 6 p.m. We have the presence of a quorum, and this meeting has been duly called in what's happened? Oh, yeah, the meeting was called, the time and place where it's happening, as required by law. And we're here to we're here to handle our first review item, which is Middle School 15. Dr. Dupree.
Yes, ma'am. As you know, the board has asked us to expedite the building of this school, and we are ready to go. We've been working hard for the last month with IBI Architects, and they're here to present us some updates to the design and just make sure the board is very well aware of what this school could look like. I'll go ahead and turn it over to the construction team. I don't know, Max or you, Oscar, you can handle that?
Yes, sir. I was just going to introduce the team from IBI. Tonight we have Blair Hamilton and Chris Green presenting, and then Oscar Perez will be answering questions with you.
Add a microphone.
Good evening, and thank you for having us here to present Middle School 15 to you. Just a brief history on the project. This was a project that we had formerly done for Fort Bend ISD, and at the time that it was included in the latest bond referendum, we were initially asked to bring the building up to current codes, energy code included, to see what we could do to make the building LEED certified. In that effort, we have already identified the code issues and are certainly prepared to bring the building up to current day codes. From a LEED standpoint, even though it is an existing building, and that sometimes makes LEED a little bit more difficult because you're not starting from scratch knowing that you're headed toward a LEED certified building. But in the initial LEED charrette, we have identified yes and probable columns about 47 or 48 potential LEED points. Making some modifications to the building, primarily with our consultants. However, we do think that was a high enough amount that we have a little bit of buffer in there, so when we do finish the building, we do intend the building will meet the district's goal of a LEED certified building of a minimum of 40 points. As kind of through the process, questions about adaptation to the district's 21st century learning goals came up, and we strategized both with Jacobs Engineering as well as the district on how we might go about looking at that, with the charge that the footprint of the building was not going to grow. And looking at the demographics and that it might not be full in the near future, the strategy was to reduce the capacity down to the core of 1430, down to the 1200 student range to start. And what that did was freed up multiple classrooms that we would be able to identify as areas where we could take a look at some of the 21st century learning. We've gone through that process, and we'll be prepared to talk with you tonight about that. And then my counterpart, Jacobs, Keith Shadle, my project manager, and I went over and visited Middle School 13 Crockett. We met with the principal, toured the school, met with most of his department heads as we were walking around and just found out things they liked and didn't like. Overall, they're very satisfied with that school. And then last Friday, we again met with the Fort Bend ISD curriculum leadership. Again, with that same charge, we're here to talk about ideas and such, but on the premise that the footprint does not grow. It was a pretty lively discussion. Even though it happened Friday afternoon and their suggestions are not documented on what we're going to show you tonight, of all of the suggestions, requests that they made, we were able to, I believe, resolve all of them within the existing footprint, with the exception of one, and that's the Fine Arts Department, get their program to really work when the building is at full capacity. They're short some space. So at this point, we're going to go through the site, which y'all have already seen, because this shares this site with Elementary 48. Let Chris talk to you about the site, and then I'll get into the floor plan and go over that.
Blair, good evening. Thank you for having us again. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. This will look familiar to y'all from 2 weeks ago. The site plan is essentially unchanged. We're happy with the way the site's laid out currently. But this evening I can actually speak to middle school 15 more so than elementary 48. So you guys got the drawings in front of you and up on the screen. I can kind of walk you through it. But again, same as last week. Elementary 48 here in the north end of the site. Middle school 15 on the southern end of the site. Shared parking in the middle. Auto drop off here from middle school 15 and right there from middle school elementary 48. I'm sorry, right there. This is, again, as you guys already know, we are in Sienna Plantation. I did want to touch on a little bit of the design parameters that we will be, that our buildings will be sharing. As you can see, our footprints are different from one another. The styles of the building are not going to be exactly the same, but what we are going to do is use the Sienna Plantation design standards. We want our buildings to complement one another. Our materials will be common between the two schools. Color selections will be complementary with the two schools. We want them to be able to kind of communicate with one another, but not exactly be the same. We wanted to have individual identities for elementary school 48 and an identity for middle school 15, and we think that we can achieve that based on material selections, staying within the Sienna Plantation design standards. Again, our site, we are 47 total acres, being replatted, the south end of the site, with 32 acres, and the north end being 15 acres here. That's the dividing line right there, but it's all being platted as one piece of property right now. As far as the demographics that Blair was mentioning, Johnson Development has said probably within the next 10 to 15 years, 6,500 new homes. That's not new information from our presentation 2 weeks ago. We just wanted to remind you of that. Right now, our site is indeed heavily wooded, and we mentioned that as well. But we are kind of looking forward to being able to work with a heavily wooded site because it's really going to help us out lead-wise. We'll be able to go in and select the areas that we are going to clear. We actually will gain lead points based on that, and it will help us out using an existing floor plan. We'll be able to gain a few more lead points, with an inch closer, possibly if we can achieve silver liquid that's certified is definitely within the crosshairs. And it also, same for elementary 48 that I mentioned 2 weeks ago, but this will also afford us outdoor activities. We'll be able to plan outdoor activities for the school, bring kids outside. I think that's an important concept we must hold on to as best we can. We're thinking right now about 1/3 of the site of the total 47 acres can be wooded, can remain wooded. It's kind of our target right now. Waters Lake Boulevard right here, currently not there, but it is in the planning stages again. Johnson Development letting us know August 2016 as a completion timetable. And then for our entry here and our main entry here, we'll be able to coordinate with the civil engineer from Johnson Development in our median locations, resale lanes, and such. Great with that. some of the stacking possibilities that we have. Just because we're sharing the site, we're able to get a little bit flexible with the way we bring cars in. We actually think we have an option we can use the fire loop that we have around the building. If we want to send cars that way to stack, we can do that. We can bring cars in this way, turn here, and send back out this way to stack for auto drop off there. We have a traffic study currently underway, and once we get a little bit more information from them, get their feedback, we'll be able to get a little bit more firm on our stacking, get a more hard number as far as the number of cars that we'll be able to stack, and that goes for under 48 as well. So a few things in play, but we do have the capacity to stack. We're pretty confident we can stack whatever the traffic engineer comes back and tells us that we need to be able to stack up. As far as the site design goes, again, it's a shared site. Again, there are economic benefits to that. We share a common parking lot between two facilities. I didn't mention this 2 weeks ago, but that really does help us out with community events as well, making the schools available to after-hours performances, outdoor activities at any of the fields that we have. We've got gymnasiums and auditoriums here, 48 and school 15. The shared parking lot will accommodate either one of the facilities at a time, both at one time, possibly. We don't know exactly, but we'll be able to accommodate after-hours activities for our shared site. Having shared parking. We do have sport fields placed around the site, in sports, football here, baseball here, school use, and can be used after hours as well. Plenty of parking on site to be able to provide for the community. Anyway, that's kind of the gist of the site design. Again, it's pretty much the same one you guys saw a couple of weeks ago, but I'll turn it over to Blair, and he can walk you guys through the performance.
Excuse me, I'm going to stand up just so I don't have to frame my neck around it. Right there. This is the first floor plan. Give you a brief run through. Front entry is up here, right directly adjacent to the student drop-off. The one change between this and middle school 13 was that the admin pushed forward to create a secure vestibule, and we're going to enhance that a little bit further by pushing the front window wall up a little bit closer, so that no rooms are accessible once you walk through the front doors except for your interaction with the reception area. This is all admin. Go through. Cafeteria is centrally located. The class drop-off is over here, and those people are funneled into the cafeteria. This is the courtyard. This is the courtyard that we would like to develop into more learning courtyards and better utilized than they are presently at the middle school 13. This is your fine arts area down in here, art, home ec, ensemble room, and then choir, band, and orchestra. This is really the area that was kind of short relative to the curriculum meeting last week. Shop areas are down here, gymnasiums, and then the front part of the school is really the academic wing. This area right here is the centralized special needs, and in this floor plan there were two rooms in that were identified as resource rooms. We have renamed IPS rooms to match your terminology. I will say that out of the meeting last Friday, one of the requests was to get the IPS rooms directly into the classroom pods and have one in every pod. We did find a solution for that this past Friday. The 9 classrooms that went away, there's 2 right here flanking the stairways, and then there's 2 more up on the upper corners. Those are directly within the grade pods. These other 2 are kind of in the center of the school, but just from a simple approach, we just took out a classroom, opened up the walls, and those could be utilized for various activities. And that was really the only changes on the first floor at this point in time. On the second floor, we kind of